are you
Hello,
today?
doing well. How are you?
Good. Very excited. Going to talk about one of my favorite topics, and I'm pretty sure it might be one of yours, maybe. But we're going to talk about some cruising today.
Cruising, traveling, I love it all.
Absolutely. So, for those of you who don't know, Jason here is a travel agent, and I decided I wanted to
Hello.
pick his brain a little bit.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, Jason. So let's explain. Who do you work for? I mean, obviously, like maybe yourself or a company, or how does that work?
Sure, yeah. So I am a travel agent with Cruise Planners. They're one of the largest home-based travel agency networks. And working with Cruise Planners, I also am an American Express travel representative. So for my clients that have American Express cards, and not, I mean, sometimes even those without American Express card, there's some extra perks involved with that American Express affiliation as well.
All right, awesome. And how many years have you been doing this?
For right at 2 years, so I'm still kind of new, but I'm beyond getting my feet wet.
Absolutely, no pun intended with the cruising, right?
Right? Yes, indeed.
All right, so I think sometimes people, when they think of cruising, they think it's the Caribbean, but as you and I know, it's so much more. Where else can you cruise?
So you can cruise to all seven continents. Anywhere in the world that you want to do a cruise, you can do it. Antarctica, Alaska, the British Isles, Australia, China, anywhere you want to go, we can find a sailing for you.
Well, then, I got to add to my bucket list now, so.
Yeah. Hey, there is an Antarctica sailing that is on my bucket list. You leave from South America, you go down to Antarctica for a few days. Oh, spectacular.
I think I actually saw a girl on Instagram that's on an Antarctica cruise, and I'm like, that looks pretty cool. Like I've done
Yeah.
Alaska and seen glaciers, but I mean, this is obviously a whole
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah.
whole
So yeah.
different
So
animal.
so anywhere. Yeah. I mean, Caribbean is by far the most popular cruising destination, especially for Americans, because it's in our backyard. But you can cruise anywhere.
All right, awesome. So one of the buzz phrases I think people hear if they're booking through a travel agent or if they're booking through, Royal Caribbean or whomever directly is travel insurance. Can you elaborate what that is and what it covers?
Yeah. So this is probably one of the most common asked questions. I'm glad you brought it up. So travel protection serves two primary purposes. The first part is what everybody thinks of when they think of travel insurance. It protects you in case of any kind of trip cancellation. So if your flight gets delayed, your flight gets canceled, a hurricane hits, you lose your luggage, death in the family, all those things. So travel protection will reimburse you for those. Even if you have to cancel the whole cruise because of weather, whatever, any of the covered reasons, travel insurance will reimburse you. The other part of travel insurance that people don't think about, which is, I think, almost even more important, is it protects you during the cruise. So if you have a medical emergency, the travel insurance will kick in and reimburse any medical fees. If there's a death in the family or an emergency while you're on your vacation and you need to get home, travel protection will help you get home. I had a client recently who his travel insurance was like $30 a person, very cheap. He was in the Bahamas. His appendix ruptured, and to make a long story short, they had to get a private plane from Miami to the Bahamas, get him back to the States, emergency surgery. He paid nothing out of pocket except for his travel insurance cost and then the co-pays for the emergency room when he got back to the States. So it's highly recommended, as you never know what will happen. But a lot of health insurance plans don't cover you outside of the United States, or you don't have full coverage outside of the United States.
Okay, that's definitely some things to think of because I know I spent some time in the infirmary on my last cruise. Just
Yes, we have
yeah.
heard all about that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you had travel protection, you would have paid for your infirmary bill, and then the cruise called me, hey Jason, here's my bill, and I would just submit it for you, or you could do it yourself. Either way, it doesn't matter. and we submit it, and you get a check back.
Oh, very, very cool. Do you find that a lot of new cruisers tend to book it versus veterans, or do you think you have some veterans that are pretty religious with it?
With the travel protection,
Yes.
I tend to find my older crowd tends to book it more regularly. I think they know, especially the ones that have more health concerns. My young crowd is the one who says, I don't need it, I don't need it, I don't need it. But, anybody can fall and break a leg. It happens.
It is, no, absolutely. I mean, because that was an interesting, because I've been on 10 plus cruises myself, and that was an experience.
Right. Yeah. I've gotten sick on one cruise, and luckily it was nothing major. But yeah, anybody can get sick. An accident can happen to anyone.
No, absolutely. Well, those are some good ones. Now, what would you say is the protocol of somebody when they book with a travel agent? Like, what's that first phone call, first email like?
Sure. So I have clients of a bunch of different types of clients. I have clients that are type A. They call me. They know the exact ship, sail date, and cabin that they want. They know the price. They know more about it than I do when they call, which is great. I can go in and book it. We know exactly what to get them. Sometimes I can get them even a cheaper rate than what they see on the website. Sometimes I can get them additional onboard credit than the additional promos. We get it booked. No problem. I have other clients that call, and it's more of a, well, what do you have? Like, we want to go on a cruise sometime in May, June, or July between 5 and 7 nights. And that just starts to be a conversation. It is, well, what ports do you really want to see? Is there a part of the country you want to leave from? What's important to you? Is the nightlife important to you? Are you taking your children with you? Do you want to be on a cruise with other children? So I try to ask those qualifying questions to find the perfect cruise or resort for my clients.
No, absolutely. And I know sometimes, like, I think of, I already know the answer, but for those of, anybody who's watching, how much do you charge somebody to do this?
Oh, how much do I charge somebody?
Yeah.
No, nothing.
There we go.
I'm a free service. I get that question a lot. No, I am totally free. And what's nice is I work for my clients. I work for you. So, Norwegian Cruise Line and Royal Caribbean Cruise Line, they're all just begging me to get clients onto their ship. So they will give us onboard credit perks, they'll give us dining perks, they'll give us discounted rates, just begging us to push my clients to Cruise Line A over the competition. Oh. And so I'm a free service. I represent all of them. And so, I have my preferences, of course, but I book clients on every cruise line.
Well, we've gone over the protocol now, and you kind of touched on some of the benefits. So what would the benefits be for, like, somebody, say like myself even, or anybody else that's been on a cruise and they book their cruise through Next Cruise, for example, because I cruise Royal Caribbean. I know that's what it's called.
Yeah.
What happens? Can they end up giving, that reservation to you to manage?
Yeah.
Or
yeah. So any cruise booked directly with the cruise line, most of them have a 60-day window to transfer it to a travel agent. Sometimes there's exceptions to get it a little longer, and it's kind of a case-by-case scenario. But my clients do that all the time. So they'll go to the cruising office, they'll book it. And if you are booked with a travel agent on a cruise, and you go to the onboard next cruising office and book another one, they will automatically book that next cruise with your current travel agent. So my clients just come home like, hey, Jason, I booked another cruise. Here's the ship sail date. And then I find it, pull it, process it. I make sure everything's right on it. Unfortunately, sometimes there are mistakes on there. They're in a terrible cabin, or their Crown and Anchor balcony discount was not applied properly. President's Club number is not on the reservation, I mean, whatever. And so I always encourage my clients to book on board, cheaper deposits, extra booking on board, more onboard credit, additional perks. It's great to book on board. I always try to book on board myself. But sometimes when I get home, we have to do a little surgery to kind of put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. So, I mean, you mentioned some of the benefits, but like you said, since in essence you kind of work for yourself when we first started talking here today, what are the benefits of booking with somebody, that has a setup like you do, or yourself, of course, versus like a AAA office or a Liberty Travel or something like that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, nothing against those. I mean, those 1-800 travel agents. I know some of them. They do a great job. I think of myself as like a boutique travel agent. My clients can call, text, Facebook, tweet, Instagram message me, whenever. I mean, literally, you messaged me at 5:30 this morning.
I sure
and
did.
I think I responded right away.
I don't sleep.
No, I wake up early. Yeah, so so it's not uncommon for me to wake up at 5-6 o'clock, have some messages from clients, and I answer those right away. When I'm on vacation, I have booked countless cruises for clients on cruises before, and like sitting in my room working on my laptop, or going to the next cruise office for them. I do that all the time too. So I've done that. So I just have a little bit more of a personalized service than some other agents, and I pride myself on just being quick to answer emails, phone calls. But before I was a travel agent and I sent an email about travel, I'd be so excited, couldn't wait to get a response, and I try to keep my clients in mind and everything, and know that they're really excited when they email me about travel, and I try to get back to them as quickly as I can.
Absolutely. I think you and I share that. I mean, for me working in hotels and you doing this, we live in such an instantaneous world.
We do.
And I think
right.
that's hard.
And I know that my competition, if you will, is not other travel agents as much. It's more the website. Because it's really easy for anybody to just go to RoyalCaribbean.com or CelebrityCruises.com or Carnival.com and just book a cruise. And, to leave the person out. I mean, on any given cruise, about 50 to 60% of the ship was booked directly with directly with the cruise line. So that means that 50 to 60% of the ship paid full price for their cruise. That means 50 to 60% of the ship does not have a travel agent watching their back if something goes wrong on their reservation. So a lot of people think booking with a travel agent is all about saving money. It is. And it's a huge part of booking with a travel agent. But the number one reason of booking with a travel agent is just adding peace of mind. I've had clients where, they get to their room and it's just a disaster, moldy, whatever. And the cruise line says, well, that's what it is. Within 30 minutes or an hour, I have Royal Caribbean calling the ship, telling them, all right, we're going to put them in a grand suite instead, an open grand suite. We're going to get them out of there. Or it's, they were delayed boarding and we get them extra onboard credit. So, I fight for my clients way more than the cruise lines would fight for you when they're not going to fight for you against themselves.
Oh, absolutely. And I noticed one thing that happens when I, call Royal Caribbean myself, if it's a Crown and Anchor question or something like that,
yeah.
There is a lot of emphasis on booking with a travel agent, which is very different because, like from the hotel side, there's that book direct approach.
Right.
But it's a lot different in this realm of the world. And why do you think that is?
I think they know that they can't handle all of the questions and all the bookings and all the payments themselves. Because if everybody booked directly with let me back up. It's cheaper for them to pay travel agents a little bit of money than it is to hire more people to process payments and call and ask questions. My clients ask me questions all the time by email, phone calls, text, that I'm sure, the cruise lines are really happy that they don't have to answer. Like, should I buy a drink package? You know, the cruise lines are going to say, yes, you should buy the drink package. But the drink package is not for everybody. It's not for everybody. So we basically take a load off of their workload.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to get into a little more fun stuff. Maybe you've experienced this on your end.
Okay.
Say somebody wanted to go on a cruise for
Yep.
an anniversary, a wedding, a birthday. What are some things that travel agents can do to help make that experience, very celebratory?
You're asking me to give away my secrets here?
A little bit, just a couple.
Well, so at a minimum, I always will make a note in the reservation of special events, and that's just so the cruise ship or resort knows what to expect from that client. They're on their honeymoon, they're on their anniversary, they're on an anniversary, birthday, graduation, whatever. So that's just so they can get a little extra recognition from the room attendants, from the dining staff, etc. Sometimes I'll throw in a little extra, room decor sometimes. Like I said, part of it's a secret what I like to do for them. But yes, so.
Well, at least maybe that'll pique some people's interest, because I sometimes don't think
Yes.
people would think to ask that question. I mean, as we're gonna find out with maybe a couple more questions right here, you're kind of a plethora of information. So.
I try to be, yes.
What do you think is the biggest mistake first-time cruisers make?
Going for the cheapest cabin. That I understand everybody is on a budget. And if an inside cabin is all that works for you, then that's fine. Let's do it and let's do it. But my idea of waking up in a 4-walled dark box is not my idea of vacation. We have windows and screen doors in our home for a reason, because we like the natural light. We like seeing it. And when you go to these places like St. Martin or, Cozumel or Alaska, or you're in the British Isles, or, the Mediterranean, you wake up and you're in Rome, you want to go see it. Get ready, open your curtains, and look at where you are. And it's also nice to see, well, what's the weather like today? What do I need to wear? So you can kind of step outside and see. So I think that's probably the biggest mistake. I try to tell all my first-timers, don't worry about a suite unless that's what you want. Just book a balcony. If you feel like you don't use it, then for next time. But I would say if you can find it in your budget, book a balcony. It's worth it to see where you are. I know everybody says, "Oh, you're never in the room." You're in there enough.
Oh no, absolutely. I think with myself, I booked an interior for my Empress sailing that's coming up next month, because I looked at it. I wasn't intending on a second cruise, but I had some different circumstances.
Right.
And $900 for 3 people, and I was
right.
like,
yeah, and then listen. There are times. Hey, I have done the inside room as well. Only on a 3-night. I've never done an inside week-long cruise. Like, that to me sounds like.
I don't think I could do it either.
I just don't think I could do it. I just don't think I did. I had an ocean view room for Super Bowl 17, and I was ready for a balcony again. I really like my balcony. But listen, people do it. The ship fills up on them. But there's also some cruise lines, like Norwegian and Celebrity, for example. They give you extra perks for getting out of the inside cabin. So when you start getting ocean view and above, you start getting drink packages thrown in, a couple $100 onboard credit thrown in. So yes, it's more money, but it's often a better value, because the extra amenities that are thrown in, ocean view and above, on some cruise lines.
Absolutely. You kind of just made me think of a question, because obviously you're seeing with especially some of the newer Royal Caribbean ships, you're seeing a lot more interior balconies per se.
Yep.
What do you think is the reason for that trend? Do you think it's just that we need some need some light, or do you just, I'm curious to see what your opinion is on.
Well, being honest, I do think an interior balcony allows the cruise lines to charge more for that room in the short term. Long term, I think the interior balconies will fall to regular interior prices. But let's give credit where credit's due. I mean, like Royal Caribbean and their new ship had the interior balconies. Kudos for them for having something, a view for every single cabin. And which is great. Like I said, it's a little bit more right now, but I mean, those prices will normalize, and we'll get back into our traditional inside ocean view balcony suite categories. And I think they did it because they just wanted to enhance the experience. That's something they didn't have to do, but Royal Caribbean just did it, and which is great, which is why they're one of my favorite cruise lines.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's kind of neat what I noticed on like my Oasis sailing, for example, next year, is that the interiors, like the Central Park and the boardwalk, we're offering additional promos like some dining enhancements and some soda
Yes. And so we haven't even talked about balconies on Oasis class, because that's a whole nother conversation.
It absolutely is, but that's something I kind of tended to notice. So we've got that. So what are your favorite itineraries and why?
Anything that has St. Martin in it is going to be using my favorite itinerary. I love St. Martin. I think one of my favorite itineraries I've ever done might have been, it's tough. It'll be one of two. They both have St. Martin in it. One was St. Martin, St. Kitts, San Juan. So that was really nice. The other one was St. Martin, San Juan, Labadee.
Okay.
And so I love St. Martin. I mean, it is my favorite place. I'm sad all my cruises so far this year are Western or in Europe. So sad I'm not going to St. Martin this year. But I did go 3 times last year. So I guess that's probably going to hold me over for a while.
Yeah, no, St. Martin's gorgeous. And I've been there a couple times. And it was on my last sailing. And here's to having the balcony room, talk again. I opened my balcony door and there was a double rainbow outside my balcony over the island of St. Martin. I'm like,
yeah. I mean, St. Martin. So I love cruising because I like to sample. Places.
You and me both. I just talked about that.
I could stay in St. Martin.
I think so too.
I really could. I could fly there, stay there, and spend a couple days on the French side, a couple days on the Dutch side, and I would be in my happy place.
Absolutely. See, I just did a post on that, and I'm sampling because eventually 10 to 15 year goal is to work at a hotel in the Caribbean and have a beach hut and live happily ever after.
Hey, I'll come visit you whenever the cruises stop there. That sounds great.
Absolutely, right? So now that we're getting into itineraries, can travel agents help with excursions?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a bunch of different options at our disposal. We have some pre-made ones, mostly in the Caribbean. Most of them are going to be kind of pre-made excursions, with the cruise line, private excursions. And for other places like Alaska, Europe, where they're more intense excursions, we can usually customize it for the client.
All right, awesome, perfect. And does that include excursions that are pre and post cruise?
Yeah, for sure. So, like for example, I'm doing a group cruise this summer out of Rome. We're going to be on the Celebrity Reflection for 10 nights to Italy and the Greek Isles. So we're going to Rome, and you can't just go to Rome and get on a cruise ship. You got to spend some time in Rome. And so I've put together a pre-cruise package in Rome. It's 3-night, 4 days. We're going to go see VIP tours of the Colosseum, the Vatican. We're going to go to the catacombs. We have transfer. So I have everything from the moment they arrive at the airport to the moment they take us to the cruise ship, all completely taken care of.
Well, if you need somebody to carry your bags.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I am really looking forward to. Rome is one of those places that I wanted to visit more than just 12 hours.
Absolutely.
So it's, Rome deserves more than 12 hours, I think.
Absolutely. Like, I think when I plan on doing it in 2 years, I want to do it for my 30th. I want to do at least a week in Europe before I hop on that boat. Like,
Yeah,
because
no,
I just think
yeah,
there's
and that's
some
what.
destinations.
So I will be gone. The cruise is 10 nights. The pre-cruise is 3 nights. I have a lot of clients that will do a week-long cruise or week-long river cruise in Europe, and then do a week land. So that's a very common combination.
No, absolutely. So, I mean, there's so many different cruise lines. I mean,
Yes.
but let's focus on what are your favorite things about your big ones? Like, I mean, we don't have to touch on the whole Cunard and river cruise element
Yeah.
type of thing.
So perhaps we should say we'll focus on the mainstream cruise lines for
Yes.
Americans.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So I would say for Americans, the mainstream, you can kind of group them together like, Carnival's great for typically like the budget cruiser. So Carnival has entry level prices. They have tons of ships. Most of them are based in the U.S. and they leave from a lot of ports that the other guys don't. They have, they've got a bunch of ships in Galveston, New Orleans. They've got them in, the Carolinas. They've got them on the West Coast. Baltimore. You can find a Carnival cruise really almost anywhere in the country. And then your Royal Caribbean and Norwegian, I'd probably call them more kind of the next tier up. And Royal and Norwegian are kind of duking it out right now, which is great for clients because they are. Norwegian used to be below Royal Caribbean, and some people might still say they are, they're not. We'll leave that to the reader's interpretation. But Norwegian is really coming on strong, and their new ships are super impressive. They're fun. They're really changing the game, and they're doing innovative things like including a drink package for every ocean view room and above, which is great. So when you book a Norwegian cruise, if you're out of an inside room, you get a free drink package, which is awesome. Norwegian's coming on strong. I'm on my first Norwegian cruise this fall in the brand new Escape, so I'm excited to report back on that. And then Royal Caribbean, most of my cruises have been with Royal Caribbean. They're fantastic. I love the Oasis class ships. If any of your readers have not done Oasis class, they really need to. They are a sight to see. They really are. And then kind of above that, you start getting into Princess, which is Carnival's upscale line. And then kind of a little above that, you start getting into Celebrity, which is Royal Caribbean's premium line. And Celebrity kind of occupies, I'm not saying that space by themselves, because Holland's there, Princess is there, but Celebrity is, at least for my clients, is probably the biggest premium market that I kind of tend to service. The Celebrity's great. They have a smaller fleet, but their ships are absolutely beautiful. I'm getting on the Celebrity Reflection 1 month from today. How's that for today?
Jealous. So, what? Because you said the Carnival was good for the first-time cruiser. Not first-time. If you're on a budget.
If you're on a budget, right. And don't get me wrong, we can find cheap cruises with Norwegian, with Royal Caribbean. I mean, they exist for sure, but Carnival tends to be the bottom.
Absolutely. So if somebody was coming to you, and we're going to play devil's advocate right here, because I kind of noticed that Norwegian and, Royal Caribbean kind of tend to be, very similar price point.
Yes.
What would be a deciding factor for somebody to go with one versus the other? Like if it was, say it was me, and my daughter, like my little family right here, and I was literally dead set, deadlocked between two. What would be...
Between Royal and Norwegian?
Yes. Like say I was, between like maybe a Royal Oasis class ship, maybe Quantum class, and like the Escape, for example.
So I hate to say, they're Norwegian built the the getaway, the breakaway, and now the escape is really responses to the Oasis class. The Oasis class changed the game for family cruising. I mean, it didn't change too much as far as Celebrity kind of didn't really adapt that much. Princess didn't adapt. But it woke up Norwegian for sure. So if you were locked within the two, I would ask questions like, do you want a drink package? If you do, then that would probably tip a scale in the Norwegian bucket. I would ask, do your kids, are they more DreamWorks or are they more Nickelodeon? Norwegian's Nickelodeon, Royal is DreamWorks. So, if that's a big factor there, and then I would ask, if you're going a certain week, what ports are important to you? So if you were dead set on going to St. Martin and one of those cruises went there and the other one didn't, that might be the deciding factor. But at the end of the day, if you're on an Oasis class, Quantum class, the breakaway, getaway, or the escape with Norwegian, you are not going to be disappointed.
Okay. Well, I guess one other one I'll test you on there and then we'll get into some fun stuff.
Okay.
So say you have like somebody, like myself, and I'm only going on this base of my experiences on Royal Caribbean.
Sure.
What would, I've been intrigued with the celebrity idea, but I don't understand the complete difference. Like, I understand it's a little bit more of a premium, but what makes it more of a premium, I guess?
So, Royal Caribbean and Norwegian both excel, and we can throw Disney in there too, those kind of lines. They excel at family first. Okay? There are water slides. There are, Mickey Mouse or Shrek or SpongeBob running around the ship. Okay? They have themed parties for them. Okay? So, Disney, Royal, Norwegian, they are all about family first. Bumper cars, rock climbing walls, zip lining, ropes courses.
Amazing the things you can do at sea.
Right, yeah. It's all about the family. A cruise line like Celebrity, and we can lump in Holland and Princess kind of into this big conversation, it is adult first. So they still have the kids center, and they still have the adult only solarium pools, but at least on Celebrity, you typically don't go to the solarium to get away from the kids. You typically go to the solarium to get away from the music. Okay. Because, don't get me wrong, when I go in a month, it's spring break, there are going to be children on board. No doubt about it. My husband is a teacher, so we kind of have to cruise at that spring break, summer break, fall break times of the year. But Celebrity has a far lower kid count. And so we were actually booked on the Harmony of the Seas for next month. And we decided to cancel it not too long ago and book it for Celebrity. But the more we got closer to it, the more I just said, I just don't really want to be with 1,500 to 2,000 children on board a cruise.
No problem with that.
They do a great job at separating the kids out. You don't see them as much. But just for us, we just wanted a more adult-focused experience. And so I think, Celebrity does tend to be slightly older. So the crowd is slightly older. But it's still a lot of fun. We stayed up multiple nights, dancing at the DJs and live music parties. So it's a lot of fun. It's just more adult-focused than family-focused.
Now, when you say adult-focused, we all have, people that are man children or woman children, whatever. So on a Celebrity ship, are you going to find, like, the sexiest man contest or the quest?
No. Now, they do games by the pool, but they're a little bit more, dare I say, refined. Okay. It's more like they'll break the teams. They'll break the pool deck into like starboard and port, and they'll do things like have teams up front and like play a song and like who can name the song and just that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So I've yet to see a sexiest man on a celebrity ship. I've yet to see a belly flop contest on a celebrity, which is fine. I mean, those are fine. But what's nice is I represent all of them, and I have some clients that's just not what they want, and which is fine, And I mean, if if you're like, man, I want a flow rod and a rock climbing wall and ropes course, like, well, then let's put you not on a celebrity cruise.
Absolutely, and I think kind of with the way that you've been able to describe it is there's really a cruise line for just about any type of traveler.
Yes, there are. Yes, I mean, and if you, yes, I mean, and we haven't even touched the the Cunard, the Crystal. I mean, that could be a whole nother conversation.
I think one of my dreams is eventually to do a transatlantic Cunard. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I know it's
the crossing.
Yes, the crossing.
The crossing. Yes.
I just want to have my little. I know I shouldn't say completely, but my little Titanic moment, a legit old white star moment.
About the Titanic. We're talking about cruises.
I know. And that's and I had mentioned that to my husband. I was just like, well, they used to be White Star, and he's like, we're not doing that. I'm like, I didn't say you were invited. I'm like, I need to do it. I need to do it. I mean,
the Cunard. I mean, Cunard is probably the closest mainstream still. I mean, and there's still even stuff above it, but Cunard tries to keep that classic feel about it.
Exactly.
And there are more luxury cruise lines, and they tend to be, luxury,
Mm-hmm.
But Cunard is that balance of classic meets luxury. And and they're not as expensive as people think they are. They're really not.
I looked that up last night. I was like, oh, okay, that's not as bad as I expected.
No, it's not. It's not. So people think Cunard and the Crossing, but no, it's I think the Queen Mary 2 is calling your name.
I think it is. I think she definitely is. So since we're going into fun stuff now, how many cruises have you been on, Jason?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. 20 or so, maybe?
20 or so?
I mean, maybe, I don't know. So I will say, I did a couple cruises. I did one when I was a kid, one or two as an adult. I've only been seriously cruising for the last 4 years, 5 years. And I started off with one a year, and then there was 2 a year, then there was 3 a year.
I just graduated to 2.
I don't know, 4 or 5 a year. So yeah, I mean, so I am, so it's probably around 20 or so, but I do have, I think 5 or so planned this year. So that number is going up quickly.
Oh, no, it definitely is. Well, I mean, and for those of our fellow comrades that we know are watching this, that you and I are both acquainted with, who's done more cruises, you or your brother?
My brother, but lately I have spent more nights at sea than he has.
Okay.
So this is a discussion that my brother and I have all the time. That 2-3 nights is still not equal to 1 week long.
Understandable. That is understandable. What is I can't say one favorite ship because I know better than to say that, but what are a few of your favorite ships and why?
So actually I know the answer to this top of my head. My favorite ship is going to be the Oasis class, Oasis of the Seas, and the Allure of the Seas. Not yet been on the Harmony. I truly do find those ships to be remarkable. Central Park, the living park at sea, the boardwalk with the Aqua Theater, the Sabor outside, the margaritas, the guacamole. Did I mention the margaritas? I do. I love those ships. They're fun. I love the beach pool. The solarium's beautiful. The open promenade. Love Oasis. I think we've done Oasis class 6 times.
Wow.
So I can walk in my sleep around those ships. Now my second favorite ship it's crazy, but it's completely different. Is the Solstice class with Celebrity.
Really?
Just it's completely different. It is their tagline is modern luxury, and it's fun. I mean, I love the elegance of the Solstice class. You know, Solstice is their newest class, the Reflection, Silhouette, Equinox, for example, and like the ice crushed martini bar. You know, which is nice to keep your drink cool while you're having cocktails. They have the Lawn Club, which is the living grass where you can have a picnic on out there, or just hang out on the Lawn Club. Yeah, it's a blast.
That's amazing.
They have this cool thing. It's like in between a balcony, in between a suite. It's called Aqua Class. We love Aqua Class. You get free access to some spa treatments, and you get a special restaurant called Blue, which is only for the Aqua Class guest. And it's all about clean, healthy cuisine. I really, really love the Solstice class as well.
You're teasing me here.
Yeah, if you haven't tried Celebrity, it's worth it. And since if your Crown and Anchor status with Royal Caribbean transfers to the equivalent status with Celebrity, so like Diamond becomes Elite with Celebrity.
God, I'd be elite.
And you can, so you're a diamond, aren't you, with Royal Caribbean?
I sure am.
Yeah. So you would walk on Celebrity as an elite member.
Very cool. Oh man, see, because I have an adults only cruise that I do with my friends, and then I take the child on something.
Yeah. I would not. So on my last Celebrity cruise, we were by the pool, and there was this family there. They had their children, and they were talking, and they did not book with a travel agent. They just found it online, booked it, whatever. And we were docked in St. Martin that day. And we were docked next to the Allure of the Seas. Oh. And we started talking, and so I was asking her, I said, so out of curiosity, what made you pick this cruise and not something like the Allure? She goes, well, we didn't know. We just booked this. And when we docked next to the Allure, we were like, why aren't we on that ship? And I said, here's my card, call me next time. And that's where a travel agent comes in handy. I would never tell someone with children to book a Celebrity cruise. Never. Unless they were just dead set and they wanted to do it, and they were like super well-behaved children and read their books by the pool, just like, sure. But I would not recommend it.
I'm
family.
even nervous about taking my husband on this. He's not well behaved.
Right, yeah, I understand.
Teasing.
Yeah.
Just teasing. But, since I'm going to add one more tease back in here. So, you've been on a lot of Oasis class ships. Is it true that if you say Sabor 3 times that Matt Hochberg appears?
Let's try. Sabor. No, he's not. Yeah.
Oh, no, but he's already on Navigator, so maybe that affects it.
Yeah, he's at Sabor right now.
Maybe that's it. So I'm going to end with one last question for those of you watching who are not aware. There's this fabulous group on Facebook called rcperiscopers.live.
Yes.
And this kind of trends off of Periscope, off of Twitter, live video feeds where you can watch while the members go on live cruise sailings and get a feel for all these ships.
Yeah.
I heard you're in charge of a group cruise for next February.
Yes. So February 2nd, 2018, we're going to do the another Super Bowl cruise. We're getting back in the Enchantment this year or next year. And for 3 nights in the Bahamas, out of Miami, just a fun group getting together, watching the Super Bowl, and it's a blast. We're already up to 30-ish members or so.
Oh my God!
And so so we had 33 this year, and I think we're like at 28, 30. We're like right at it for 18, and the group priced cabins are going fast. I do not have very many left.
I know.
So if you want to go, contact me or go to rcperiscopers.live. My information's on there. And Kathy Kathy Pepper will send you right on over to me.
Oh, absolutely. So I know it's called the Super Bowl cruise, but is it possible when I book this when I'm on Empress in April that I can rename it to my birthday cruise? Because my birthday is February 2nd.
Oh, well, then we need to rename it immediately.
I know.
Yeah, well, I think we should get you a special shirt that's the Super Bowl and my birthday cruise.
I know. I kind of want a tiara too, though.
No, we can do that. We can do that. We can do a tiara.
Well, that sounds great. Well, thanks so much for your time, Jason. I really appreciate it. But
You
it
are
sounds like there's
welcome
somebody that
anytime.
needs
I
me.
love talking with your readers and your viewers about traveling and the benefits of using a travel agent and sailing the world together.
All right, that's awesome. Well, you heard it, guys. I'm going to include Jason's info at the end of this here. I think
Perfect.
I'm convinced. I don't know who else is, but definitely give him a call. You want that personalized experience, that instantaneous now, and obviously he lives and breathes for it, and he practices what he preaches. And hopefully we'll all see you on the Super Bowl cruise next year.
I hope so.